This segment is brought to you by Jersey Mike's. Hey, welcome to Points in the Paint. It's a brand new podcast, and it's all about WCC women's basketball. I'm Ann Schatz. I will be a co-host along with the one and only Mary Murphy. Mary, give us a wave. Happy holidays. How did you celebrate? How you doing?
It's great to see you. I'm doing well. I was up at Tahoe with family and friends and was happy to get down the mountain before they closed the hills. So it's great to be here, and it's going to be great to talk about WCC women's basketball for the next couple months.
Fantastic. Where I lay roots is the Oregon coast. We lost power for a day and a half.
Of course you did.
Thank God for the generator. So we are up and running. So happy to have you with us, Mayor, and with me. Our first show is loaded, as you know, and you and I landed right on the reality. First choice, got to talk about the Portland Pilots. Unbeaten at 13-0, one of 8 undefeated teams that can make that claim at this point in the season. And all wins, Mayor, by double figures. Best start in program history. Pretty special, huh?
I think what's really interesting, too, is they were picked third in the preseason polls, which a team that's already dynamic and accomplished all year long can just walk around with a chip on their shoulder. And nothing helps sort of propel you forward than that. So this is a team that, they've done so well in the WCC tournament over the past couple of years, but they've got their sights set on a much higher goal, and they're playing like it right now. And they're an experienced team. They're a talented team. They're playing with great confidence. And I can't wait to see what happens over the next couple months.
You talk about experience, you talk about talent, you talk about dynamic. Let's bring in Maisie Burnham, the senior make it go engine that, I don't know, there's something about this Maisie Burnham kid that we're so excited to have you on that just makes me sit on the edge of my chair. Maisie, thanks so much for joining us. Before we get to the particulars about who and how and why you are such a special player, how were your holidays?
They were great. Lots of family time. Can't complain. Some relaxing time. It was very nice.
Did you get over to Spangle, where you hail from?
I did, yes.
All right, Spangle, Washington, on the Palouse. We'll get to that in a few seconds. But let's talk about hoops. You're part of a club that Mary mentioned is now the hunted and not chasing, if you will. How does that feel? Undefeated, all of those lopsided victories, starting off well in conference, but now you're the one everybody's gunning at.
I think it's a great honor. I think we, are really happy where we are. I think we're really confident as a team, but I think we're also humble in the fact that we know we're going to get everyone's best game. And we're just excited for the challenge, the possibility of adversity, just going through that all together. The goal is to be our best in March. And so we realize that there's still a lot of growth to be happened.
Maisie, for me, as a former coach, it's always this is a challenging and scary time for a coach because you want your student athletes to go home and enjoy the family, but you'd kind of like them to be in the gym, making shots and like running the roads and just staying in shape. How do you approach the quick turnaround? I mean, you're already sitting in Santa Clara. When did you guys come back, and how do you manage that? And especially with some of the younger players to say, this is only 4 or 5 years of your life. Like, this is not going to be Christmas for the rest of your life.
Right. I think Mike does a great job about giving us that flexibility, giving us our days off to relax, but also we talked about it yesterday when we arrived in Santa Clara for our practice last night is, we don't require you back by a certain time. We just want you here before our practice. But when you're there, we have to be engaged. We have to be, working hard, ready to show up. And I think that's just kind of like the definition of our program is we're treated like mature adults. And as far as we perform as well, we will keep continuing to get treated like that. So I think it's just that mutual respect is we're all college athletes, adults, and have high enough standards ourselves to hold us accountable, and we're just trusted with that.
Maisie, you come to the University of Portland from Eastern Washington, so you're in Cheney, not too far from your hometown, your freshman year. What took you from the Palouse to the Bluff at the University of Portland?
Yeah, there were a lot of changes within the Eastern program at the time, finishing my freshman year, coaching staff changes, a lot of player movement. So I just found myself in the portal, and as soon as, I made that decision of Portland, as soon as I got there, I knew, it was a unique and special fit for me. I mean, this program is like no other program I've ever been a part of, and it's the girls, it's the coaching staff, it's the culture. I'm just super blessed to be. That's why I chose to stay here for, my fifth year. Is there's nothing but great things going on here.
And you mentioned the 5th year, so you're working on a master's in finance. What's it like being in a classroom with people getting a master's in finance? Because those people are very, very serious about their finance major, right?
Yeah, very much so. I have the blessing to be able to have a majority of my classes with Mikkel Meek and Emmy Shear. So we
Wow.
all kind of are doing the finance masters together. So it's very nice to have friends in there.
Okay, you bring up Sheer and you bring up
Mhm,
Meek. You guys have had boots on the ground. We had no idea you were taking classes together. But in
mhm.
terms of in the gym, you've been boots on the ground and have been those rocks for this program. What's it like going into the gym every single day, whether it's practice or a game, with those women you can count on, and you've all had such great success together?
It's awesome. I mean, if I look back on my first year here, they were my roommates for 3 years. We have such a great relationship, such great trust. I think we're all so close that makes our dynamic work really well. It's great. We're all in the gym working out. We have our GA that does a great job running us through workouts. But it's not only us. I mean, all of our girls work really hard and have high standards and are always in the gym, and we're not even asked to do that. I think it's just, we do that ourselves. And so, yeah, we have a great group of girls, and those two are some of my best friends. So it's really fun.
Maisie, I love numbers and stats. And when I look at your career, like this is a great year for you personally. Just your shooting percentages are way, way up. So many things that have improved. But the thing that really stood out to me was your assist to turnover ratio and just how much more valuable you are. I mean, you're making much fewer mistakes, really great decision making, better facilitating. What mindset has led you to the improvements you've had so far?
Yeah, I think I would take this back to Mike and his coaching. I've been here 3 years, and it's always the little things that I need to improve on. That's kind of been one of them. My assist to turnover ratio, my turnovers have relatively been high in the past. So that's something we've talked about and tried to work on in practice, whether it's my feet, just slowing down, seeing the help, looking for kickouts. It's all those things that I've been reminded of these past years that I think have been really helpful, help me see the floor better. But yeah, we just have really good coaches that hold me accountable. So I think finally being able to take it, listen, play with a little bit more, be a little bit more slow out there has really helped me.
Is it hard to slow down when you're playing, Portland style play? Because you guys, I get tired watching you
Yeah. No, I agree. I
on
think
both
that
ends,
is
on
yeah.
both ends.
I think that's probably something I struggled with before. It's play fast on defense, slow on offense.
Okay, you have won. There's something about Vegas. They
Right.
laugh about what's in the water. Nothing to laugh about, but because the last 2 years, when you go back to even including the COVID year, you guys have sat atop the WCC Tournament Championship dais. And what you did last year blew Mary's mind away, my mind away. I want you to go back to February 28th, Maisie.
Mhm. Yep.
You're in Spokane and you got smoked by Gonzaga, nationally ranked by 50 flippin' points. I was at that game. I've never seen your group so down in that moment. 50 flippin' points. 2 weeks later, you are upsetting Gonzaga again to win the WCC tournament title again. How did your team lock in less than 2 weeks to beat the team that had just embarrassed you?
Mhm. I think, what goes on in the backstory that a lot of people don't see is, we just had Emmy pulled us in a meeting in our locker room, and we kind of had a discussion about our goals. We each went through individually what we need to improve on. But I think the key was staying together. I think remaining confident in our group. I don't think we ever ask any of us girls thought that we couldn't do what we did. I think we were just, low down, like you said, but we found a way to stick together, and we found a way to stick together and believe in the coaching staff at the same time, which I think can be really hard in a moment like that with such a big loss. Things aren't going our ways for everyone to, kind of fall apart, but we remain confident in our coaching staff and confident in ourselves. And we knew that what we were capable as a team, we just knew we had to go out there and show it.
It was unbelievable to watch that. I had no words. It was neat to watch your body language. Before we let you go, you're undefeated. You're beating teams double-digit blowouts. Should the Portland Pilots be ranked?
I don't worry much about that. I think
Oh,
that's
come
for
on,
everyone
Maisie.
else
Oh,
to
look at
worry
coach.
about. I think we're just really focusing on staying humble and taking it at a game at a time, and whatever happens, happens. But we know this doesn't really matter we just want to be where we want to be in March. So.
Okay, young lady, you're in the lion's den now because it's conference time, and this is going to be a blast. I know you're on the road. Go be with your buddies. Go light it up on the practice floor, and thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Maisie Burnham, one of the best of the WCC, and certainly leading the way for the Portland Pilots. All right, we're just getting started with this show. It's a fun one. Be back in just a second. Grab your coffee, grab your bevy, get your breakfast. We'll be back. This segment is brought to you by Credit Union One. Welcome back to Points in the Paint. It's our brand new, specially outfitted podcast all about WCC women's basketball, beginning, middle, and end. We're hitting conference play. We are psyched. I'm Ann Schatz, joined by the incomparable Mary Murphy, and we are going to rock and roll through this season all the way up and through the tournament championship in Las Vegas. All right, Mary, I want to shine a light on one of the many fabulous newcomers in this conference. Charlotte Abraham of Washington State, immediately one of those guards that you know is going to be a great one, with Cammie Etheridge leading the way as her head coach.
Yeah, I mean, Washington State's a team that has so many fantastic international players, and Charlotte's 6-foot freshman out of France. And I was up in the Palouse and did a game where she hit a game winner. It was amazing. She comes off the bench and they run a set for her to come off a stagger screen, and she just rocks back this lefty and nails a big time three. So she's done a tremendous job. She had 10 points against San Diego on the 19th of December, right before Christmas. And this Washington State team is just chock full of great freshmen and sophomores. I mean, their youth is extraordinary. And she's helping lead the way. Started her first game of her career of the season against San Diego, at San Diego. And, plays 19 minutes, and you have 10 points in 19 minutes. So just great efficiency. She's shooting 34% from three. She can, score from anywhere on the floor. You can put her inside, outside, and just the kind of versatile player that Cammie Etheridge and that staff just loves. And they do such a fantastic job of recruiting all over the world. And she's a great get for them and going to continue to grow. But that's just to have that happen right before Christmas, you're not going to be able to go home. And I just think it's a great reward for her and for the program in general.
I'm still just amazed, and why would I be, at this international link and lock that Cammie Etheridge, and you mentioned her staff, they just know where to go and get these women to come to the Palouse.
Yeah, I mean, they've done a fantastic job when you look at Canada, Taiwan, Australia, Spain, Italy, Kosovo, France, Estonia, and Niger.
Yep.
They go everywhere, 6 freshmen, 3 sophomores. And so, as Cammie has been saying all season long, we are going to be a much better team in February than we are right now. And I think that I'm sure they're not happy with where their record is, but this is a program. Cammie went out and was super aggressive with their their schedule building to make sure it was strong. And it might not be where they want to be net wise and just where they want to be positioned in the national scene. But this is a team that will continue to grow and get better as they evolve and find their roles.
With you 100%. You think about this conference. I love the parity. I love the fact that it's loaded. I love the fact that it's wide open. I think it's going to be a blast. You mentioned Washington State. Washington State and Oregon State as affiliate members of the WCC joining the fray this year. And it's going to make things very interesting having the Cougs and the Beavers on board.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, it really takes the whole WCC to the next level. And as we know, finishing the top 4 in this conference is absolutely key when you roll to tournament time. You have to, the number of games you have to win to get to that championship day, and then the target, the prize of getting to the NCAA tournament. So this whole thing has gone up a notch, and I think that every single game, really, the magnitude it's already started and just continuing through the end of February into March is going to be fun to watch. And we're going to have a blast talking about it every week.
Washington State, when you look at this club, MVP, anybody jump out at you? X factors type of players where you're thinking, don't fall asleep on this one.
Well, for me, their MVPs is Tara Wallach. Tara Wallach just does such a great job, but I think she can be even better than she has been. And as far as their X factor, their freshmen have got to just continue to step up, get more minutes and be more productive and be, just shoot better percentages and understand what they need to do on the floor when they hit it.
I think Candace Pettigrew can be one of those freshmen, a redshirt freshman, that can continue to evolve and give that backcourt some front court presence as well.
There's no doubt about it. And I think Oregon State, when you look at them,
Yep.
is a team that, we look at who they lost, and you can sit and cry in your milk all day long, but you've got to move forward and who they have. And they're starting to kind of, hopefully, I think, pull it together. And when I look at them and think about MVPs, I think about Kelsey Reese and just what an amazing woman she is on the floor, off the floor. The transfer a couple of years ago from Utah, who now is the go-to, and she can play the 4 or the 5. She's got great versatility, great length, can block shots, shoots a great percentage from 3. But it's the leadership that she presents. Oh, it's positive. She's working on her master's as well in some like engineering, designing, medical. I mean, she's just like a genius in the classroom. So she defends, she rebounds, she scores, and there's so much pressure on her to produce each and every game that she's just trying to deal with the focus that she's getting. And we've done a number of the Oregon State games together, Ann, and when I think of who is their X factor, I think it's AJ Murat. Just relaxing and thinking, I'm just got to go out there and play and not think so much, come off those screens, knock down those shots, make her threes, and not think so much about the game. We know she can defend, she runs the floor, and just go out and just play, just play and get it going.
We know Scott Ruick is one of the masters at X's and O's. He brings all these new players in, Reese and Murat, 2 of the veterans. He will be teaching and coaching quite a bit all the way up through March, correct?
Yeah, there's no doubt. And he's going to have to, because this is a conference, again, when we talk about who's going to be there in March, who's going to carry the flag in the NCAA tournament. And we've talked to Maisie already about Portland and being the back-to-back winners in the tournament. Tournament time really has already started. You've got to sow the seeds right now and get those wins. And when I look at dangerous teams, certainly Portland's a team to beat. You can never count out Gonzaga. They've lost so much ability, numbers, rebounding points, but they're a team that has the tradition, and we all know they're going to be there in the end. I think Washington State's a dangerous team.
I agree.
And as these next couple of weeks roll on, we're going to find out, is USF, are they for real? Can they win on the road? Just every single team, like where they're going to fit in this great puzzle that is this enhanced WCC this year with Oregon and Washington State.
What's really going to be fun too, when we mention Gonzaga, and they're with Lisa Fortier, they're going to find a way.
And that whole staff is so
Bonnie
fantastic.
Ejim doing her thing. Exactly. If they can get healthy, look out. So, Mayor, my question, how important is this Gonzaga hosting Oregon State on ESPN? How huge of a game is that? And we're not even in mid-season forum conference play.
Well, our good friend Krista Blanc will be on that game along with Carolyn Pack, and the eyes of, when you're on ESPN2, everyone's watching, right?
You bet, babe.
So one, you want to play really well. And we all know what the crowd's like there and the energy in that building. You've done a lot of games up there, and just at what that special moment's going to be. And I think Gonzaga, the bright lights are going to go on, and they're just going to want to, put a show on. And for this Oregon State team, now's the time. All those lessons, now's the time to hit the tape and see where you're at.
Cannot wait. All right. We're breaking things down. Mary Murphy is breaking things down as only she can. We're not even close to being finished yet. Stick around. We'll be right back as our podcast continues. This segment is brought to you by Gatorade. Welcome back to Points in the Paint. Our podcast continues, a podcast absolutely solely about WCC women's basketball. I'm Ann, joined by Mary. Happy to have you on board as well. All right, Mary, let's bring this train to the station. And I'm going to ask for a bold prediction from you. Let's start with Wazoo.
I see Washington State in the championship game of the WCC tournament in Vegas, and part of that is we've talked about it. I think those freshmen, sophomores are really going to just continue to grow. But I think the experience that they had in the Pac-12 tournament, winning it, running the table in 2023, the coaching staff knows what that grind is. They don't have a lot of players left from that team, but I think the legend of that kind of experience just lives on in a program and in a building and just makes you want to move forward and do that. And I think they've got the ability to do it.
I think I'm going to dovetail on that. I think if Washington State is able to stay healthy, we know that they were in a good place last year before Charlize Ledger-Walker went down with that ACL against UCLA. If this club can stay healthy, I think Cammie will have them ready when it comes to March and beyond. How about bold prediction for Oregon State? What do you got?
I think Oregon State's having a tough go, and when you look at the players that left, and I think it's understandable. But there's one thing, and Ann, you know this better than anybody, that is just amazing about Oregon State is the city of Corvallis and the way those fans embrace that team. And I don't think no matter what happens this year, they're going to be there for this team. And my bold prediction is that in most places, fans would say, "See you when you get this thing back on track. We'll see you then." That's not the people and the fans in Corvallis and the Oregon State women's basketball fans. And I think they're going to still keep filling that building and making that environment for every WCC game something special as they experience these new teams, these new coaches, and just really understand what this conference is all about.
Love that. Out on a limb a little bit. My bold prediction for Oregon State is they find that elusive shooting touch. We shall see. All right. We've talked about Gonzaga versus Oregon State as that marquee matchup. We've got a couple other games we'd like to talk about. You go first, babe.
Mine is USF at LMU. USF is 1-0. Their win is over Gonzaga, which makes a team want to go dancing in the streets. I mean, it is just the highlight, but it cannot be the highlight of your season because your season just started. But they snapped Gonzaga's 22-game conference winning streak. I mean, that is all something that just fills your press releases, right? But on the other side, USF hasn't won on the road yet this year. So can they go to LMU and win? LMU is 0-2. They had won 6 in a row in November and December. They were rolling. They've got a tremendous point guard transfer out of Grand Canyon, who's averaging 7 assists a game. Nobody loves Erica Hughes more than I do. In her 4th year at LMU, she does a tremendous job. So much energy. Loved her at USC. Loved her as an assistant, and now this is her program, and they're coming into it. You're attracting great transfers from other places. It's a beautiful school, easy to get to in Los Angeles. I'm excited just to see this game and say, it's a tipping point for LMU. Can you go 1-2, and now you got momentum going forward? Your USF, can you win and go 2-0, and you've won on the road and you've turned that page? That's the game that intrigues me.
I love it. Okay.
Schatz?
I'm going to go with Pacific versus St. Mary's.
Okay.
I like this Pacific club a lot. I think when the WCC tournament rolled around last year, they were one of the best teams in the conference. And I thought they should have made it to the title game. They were upset in the semis. I love what Bradley Davis is doing with this team. They've already beaten Oregon State. That's a huge feather in their cap. They lost
In
to
overtime. In overtime.
In overtime, good one.
Yeah.
They lost to Portland. They were within single digits midway through maybe 6 minutes left to go in the 4th quarter. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but against Portland, if you're not getting smoked and boat race, you're in it. Anaya James, I think, is dynamic and electric. I love Liz Elliott. They're veterans on this team. I think if they stay healthy, they could make some noise in this conference. So I think this game is extremely important as folks realize, oh, it really is conference time. And St. Mary's, Jeff Kamen has done a really, really good job. They're 2-0 in conference play. That hasn't happened, 2-0 in conference play, in 10 years. They beat Santa Clara in overtime. They beat LMU, a very close game. They got this Kennedy Johnson transfer from Idaho, who is absolutely, she's one of the most entertaining players in the conference to watch, and she is lighting it up. Last year in conference, this is a team that started 1-3. They're 2-0. Can they keep this momentum going? And they will be tested by a very good Pacific team. You might go back, Mayor, to these kind of games at the end of December, early January, and think, what did that tell us? I think these are nuggets that we'll draw from throughout the year. These are important games.
Well, I think what you're saying is there are a lot of great games, and we're going to look forward to seeing how they go. And we'll talk about them next week when we have the second episode of Points in the Paint.
Cannot wait. Mayor, thanks for being on board. Couldn't imagine doing this without you. And hey, everybody, thanks for joining us. Points in the Paint, brand new podcast show dedicated to the WCC women's basketball. #1 episode in the books, in the bank. #2 coming your way next week. Can't wait to see you then.